record on this computer. Perfect. Linnea is, let me admit her.
Yeah.
Amanda! Linnea! I'm so glad we're able to meet like this. Makes it so much easier, and that way we all get on the same page, right?
Yes.
So, I have music on there. I got to turn it down. Okay, better. Okay, so welcome, Joy. It's awesome to meet her. She's in my homeland.
Oh, you're Filipino?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so she's in my homeland. So that's awesome. And then Linnea's on the call. Welcome on. I think this good idea to put this meeting together. I was talking to Amanda yesterday, and I was like, you know what? Let's get you guys together so that we can create this expectation of what needs to be gathered during the pre-sale process, and then as the escrow transactions happen, and what we need to be expected 10 days before close so that everything is cleared. Okay, I find that that will help Porchlight only because you guys have multiple transactions happening at the same time. That way, Joy, you also understand what's happening in the background. Linnea, you know that everything's going to be checkmarked exactly for every single transaction. And once you get that process going, you might not even need it. And what I've been doing as of late is working with agents create that process. And so I have some cheat sheets that we can use to go over those items. And escrow also, for them, this is the most important part, because I know that we're closing on one of the escrows either soon, and we had some documentation that needed to be probably executed in the beginning. So this is a way for us to completely avoid any of those things that are missing, right? That way we close on time, there's no delays, and everybody's happy, right? And so maybe Amanda, maybe what you can talk about is what are some expectations that you want to create in this meeting so that we're all on the same line, coming from the standpoint of real estate, because my point of view obviously will be coming from opening the pre-sale and moving forward with the escrow. So that way everybody's kind of in line of what they need to get together. Joy, I don't know how long you've already been with the team, but just so that she also gets caught up, and I can understand it, so I can jot it down, put it in my notes, and always know that these will be real Porchlight's expectations.
So I think the things that come to mind initially are that, yeah, we want to see, like, maybe from a bird's eye view, that streamlined process that you're talking about from pre-escrow and then through escrow, understanding all the things that are going to be happening on what timeline, so that we can get you those pieces of information quickly. But I'm also thinking about our communication with sellers, especially.
Yeah.
And buyers. So, like when we have questions that are sent to them, they're not feeling like, oh, where,
Why
who
do I
is
need
this
that?
or
Yeah.
what is this? Yeah. So that we're better prepared in our communication with them.
Okay. I have all of that for you. So let's start. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to start off with, let's do the term sheet first. We're going to go over the checklist for that, because those include all the vendors and all the upfront probably fees, things that need to be taken care of on your end on the real estate side. And then secondary, let's go over the checklist for escrow, what use the realtor or the team is going to put together and ask and require of your sellers or your buyers. We'll go over what those seller and buyers expectations, what we need from them, and I have that list. So you'll, like you said, you'll see exactly what you can say, hey, by the way, I'm going to give you this list of expectations that escrow is going to need from you. Just make sure you're prepared for it in the event we need these items, okay? And then secondary, or the last thing is understanding the prelim. Who's reading the prelims on your end, on Porchlight's end?
Danny, are you reading the prelims?
Yeah, the agents.
The agents.
Okay,
Yep.
the agents. Maybe what I can do is
Well, I'm assuming
have
you guys do some sort of review for any major red flags on your end, or no?
on our end, we do, Danny. I know Lisa does, and I have been too as of late, helping the team read those things. But I think it's really important. Maybe what I can do with some of the newer agents that I'm working with on your team is making sure I'm including that in the training when I'm doing that with them, just so that they know which highlighted portions of the report to read, because there's some important sections where the exceptions or easements or just red flag items. So I'll go over that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just so we know, everybody listening, like it's not Chicago Title's job to catch any red flags. That's
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Expect Linnea, Joy, or Amanda to none of those people we just named are licensed realtors. So
Right.
I don't, the expectation is on the agent, just so everybody's clear.
Okay, I appreciate that. I will make sure to circle back with everyone on the team and the newbies on the team to just get them updated on how to read the correct areas of the prelim, because it's sectioned into 5 areas, and really it's one area that you need to really look at. So I'll make sure to do that. So, and hi, Danny, you're in the background listening to me. Oh, there's Xander. Hello. Awesome. So let's go over. It's that screen. Edit screen 2. All right. Maybe it's not that screen. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's our prelim. So let's start with the term sheet. I think the term sheet is one of the most important things, because you guys on Porchlight's team, these are all your vendors. This is your homeowners association. If there's any townhome, condos, PUDs that have that, it already breaks down everything on this sheet. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see it. Already has your escrow number. What I would suggest is for whoever's taking care of the files, maybe always having this term sheet so you can organize everything. And you know exactly who your vendors are. You know what the escrow number is, who you're working with, whether it's home warranty, if there's termite, roofing. And I don't know if you have this already, but having something like this already completed and filled out, this helps escrow. That way, every time you either fill it out or once it's all completed, send it over to escrow right away so we could have this information, because we don't know if there's going to be rent back and if there's tenants occupying the property. And then, of course, your inspections, right? All these different things escrow needs to know about. And a lot of the times when we're opening escrow, all we ask of you is either a copy of the contract, if it's the buyer side, deposits, or if there's HOA deposits, right? But I think including all of this information will help with, hey, we forgot to include the natural hazard report, or hey, we forgot that, there was this particular inspection. This way, we never drop the ball, right? So right up front, always have the term sheet with your escrow checklist. And this is going to be specifically to the agents. So I'll have to go over this with the agents too, just so that they keep in mind those particular items, because on the back end, Linnea and Joy, when you're doing all the admin stuff, this stuff should be coming directly from the agents, because they're working with the clients directly. You guys are the ones that are facilitating, okay, did we have this completed, the fully executed contract, right? Is everything filled out? Amendments, completed term sheet, that will be you guys. You guys need to make sure all those vendors are included in there. Earnest money, if there's a deposit from your buyer, right? Where are we getting that? Has that been submitted or wired to the title company? This is a big thing. Statement of information, right? More than likely, there's going to be the same John Doe or Jane Doe out there. We want to make sure to always ask the clients, there might need to be a statement of information submitted because XYZ, right? Solar panels, huge, whether they're leased or owned. Existing loan information, if there's going to be a lender, right? We need the lender information too. All the CCNRs, more than likely. Right now, I'm working with the HOAs as well as Vanessa, since Jean Marie is out of the office for now, recovering from surgery. So any of those things, make sure all those electric copies are sent to us, because we keep a file. Let your escrow officer know if, again, non-resident additional disclosures may be required, right? Bylaws, right? All of this stuff is everything that escrow needs to know about. And then within the first 10 days of escrows, these are the things we need. Escrow is not going to ask you up front, but at least having this sheet will, again, keep the process going. So all your inspections. Also, I think there was a question with one of the listings that you guys had, was if there was a inspection done within the last, was on 120 days, right, Linnea? I think there was something like that, and you got back to them, and there was. So we need any of that information, because it's, it can delay the close of escrow. So we need to make sure we have that information. Okay, you can insert all that into the term sheet. Follow up with buyers to make sure that they have submitted all the documents at their, whatever they require. Reviewing the prelim, and we just talked about that. Educating the buyer, the importance of the title policy. Okay, and then last, there's a couple things on here. Let your escrow officer know how your buyers are taking the property, whether it's investing or not. I don't know if the agents know how to do that, because obviously we can't incorporate any of that, but I could give you the vesting sheets, the common ways to hold title, and why they would hold title in that manner. So I could forward that over to you.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Easy, right? Easy, but a lot. And Linnea, and again, and Joy, as you guys are starting to understand how the process and how each layer is so important, because without each layer, escrow can't do their job. And then 10 days before closing. Okay, we already know that there's the signing appointment that's coming up. We need to ensure that all those things are in place, right? So home warranty, hazard insurance, and usually by that time, the escrow assistants on the team will have asked, and contacted those people. That's why the term sheet is so very important, because without all those items on there, we're not closing. We're not closing escrow. Okay. Last but not least, what to expect at the signing appointment. Photo ID, making sure it's the right, correct, people that are purchasing the property, and then the wire transfer, right, deposit. Other than that, I mean, it looks like a lot, but it really isn't. It's just making sure we line everything up in a row, and now that we know what those items are, we should always have a smooth process. So what I'm asking agents to do is print this out, put it on top of the file. If you're using, hard copies, put it on top of the file and just continue to check mark as you go, or, create it in whatever folder. If you guys are doing it in the cloud, create in a folder and just continue to check mark those items. Again, this is going to help every single escrow go smoothly. Because everything on your end, you guys will be dealing with the buyer or seller, having those questions. Anything that comes up, Lisa's always, she's always around to answer questions, and you know that, Danny knows that, Xander knows that. Whenever you need something, just if it's really urgent, text her, email her, she'll get back to you as soon as she can. Okay. I was gonna have her come in. Let me ask her to come in real quick.
Anna-Liza, I have a kind of a side question. Well, two of them. I'm assuming you don't have an electronic version of this in the term sheet, right?
No, but you know what? It's a PDF, and we could create it so that we could create check marks, check mark sections. So we definitely could edit this.
I'm just
make it
thinking for
easier.
our back end, like, so that we don't have to continually physically,
Print
manually.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the other question
And
I
this one I
had,
think is
yeah.
this one is an actual fill-in copy, so you
Oh,
guys
it
can
is.
continue to fill it in.
Okay,
This one I could create one on that with converting, adding those items in there. Shouldn't be
okay.
too hard to do that. But this one is a fill-in one, so it's easy for you
Oh,
guys
okay.
to keep track of it.
Great.
Okay.
And then the other question I have is like, is there some kind of a cheat sheet for who we should be sending what questions to or what requests to? Because now I know there's Vanessa. Now I know there's Sheldon, but like I know me personally, and I'm less involved than Linnea is, a little confused about like, who do I send if I have a general request or?
I would suggest just sending it to the Team Albritton email. That way it goes to everybody. Amanda was asking about who to send like a lot of the requests and questions to, because Sheldon's on the email too.
Right.
So is Sheldon in the Team Albritton one? No.
No.
No. Okay.
I don't think
You
so.
include her, that's fine. She's been helping more with just the prepping for my files. So when I go to draw them, that's where her role is, to just help with the payoffs and things, to start prepping for
Got it.
the draw. So that's where she comes into the play.
Got it. But all like general requests or questions and things like that should go to the team
Yes,
and not, okay.
yes, for
Got
sure.
it.
So Lisa, this is Joy.
Hi there.
She's going to be the admin. She's going to be working remotely, and then
Excellent.
Linnea, of course, and then Danny's in the background, and so is Xander.
Okay.
They're in the background.
all right.
They're-
Hi,
they're working.
Yeah, nice to see a face with the names and all of that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're having this meeting so we can all be on the same page. Congratulations with all your success. That's been great to see you guys growing your business.
Well, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It is.
So I
So where
just went over the checklist.
Mhm.
I'm going to give them a electronic version so that they can
Okay.
check mark that with
Excellent.
the term sheet, because I think the term sheet will really solidify
Mhm.
all of the vendors and making
Yes.
sure all of that's cleared and out of the way before the 10 days before closing.
Excellent.
And then on top of that, making sure their checklist of what they need to get to us,
Okay.
if there's a statement of information or whatever that's on there, they can already have those questions and let the clients know that there's potentially that we will need this information from
Okay.
them.
So my biggest concern is, as of late, is we've had a lot of projects. A lot of your properties have had projects that were work that was done. So
Mhm.
we want to make sure to get in front of that as early as possible, because to help you understand what happens is when you tell me work has been done, I have to then get an indemnity from each of our waiver from each of our vendors that were paid or not paid if I'm paying them through escrow. So they're verifying that either they've been paid or they're going to be paid through escrow, and they agree not to record a waiver. I'm sorry, a lien against our property. Since we're offering our buyer a free and clear property, that's why we have to do that as full disclosure. So that's why it's really important for me to get that early as possible. Usually they're really small. They're not that big a deal. Usually a lot of those vendors are familiar with the process. But when we have those bigger deals, like we just had one that was almost $500,000 of work being done. Thank God our builder was responsive, and he had the permits that were done. He had everything on hand. He was able to get it to me. I was still able to, my underwriter almost didn't make it go through, but I told him that Danny's dad worked as a contractor, and I go, hey, Danny's familiar with this industry. He would not put me in a position where we have a contractor that would compromise our insurance. Thank God I happened to throw that out there, had a little bit of information, and he okayed it. So thank God for that. But it's that type of thing. They're going to be looking to me to say, am I going to put my name on this? So if we get sued later, you know what I mean? That's why we want to get in front of it as early as possible, because there's a lot more liability. The more work that was done, the more chance somebody can come back and put a lien on the property. And that's where our title insurance covers that. Well, as an insurance company, we don't want to take that loss. We want to do our due diligence to make sure we've covered everybody, including ourselves. Yeah. So that's why when work is done, or it's a rebuild right from the beginning, if it's a listing, you say, hey, Lisa, this is a remodel. We know it from jump. We can start working on the stuff well before we get into contract. So the nice thing about that is if you guys have a anxious buyer, they're only in town for a weekend and they want to close by Monday, Well, if it's free and clear, we can make that happen. But if those indemnities are in the way, it won't. So that's where you have to see that prep work makes a huge difference. And then I'm not scrambling around last minute trying to get that done. And that protects all of us in the long run.
Yeah, the whole like getting work done and getting waivers for it thing is something that's totally new to me. Like I don't remember doing that or talking about that with escrow at all. Like, I mean, this was years ago when I was a licensed agent. So this is something that has come up recently. We've talked about it on the team as like, okay, how can we organize this information and get it to you guys up front? And like you said, maybe it's a matter of like, hey, we're open, like, can you help us open escrow at 123 Main Street? And oh, by the way, we're anticipating doing X, Y, and Z, and these are the vendors that we're anticipating using. And then I guess at that point, it's just a matter of keeping you in the loop about work that's done as soon as it's done.
Well, I can start communicating with our seller right away. We can start sending out the indemnity, you know, the list. I can start communicating with the things I need so they can start providing what is needed. Now, if it's considered maintenance or like a quick little, you know, paint job just to get things clean, technically I don't need indemnities for that. It's for those major projects, a major paint job, a major, you know, landscaping that was done. Not that some plants were put out, you know what I mean?
Is the threshold at a dollar amount? What is the?
I wish I could say that. You know, unfortunately, I have a lot of personalities as my underwriter. So you have one underwriter that will say, "Oh yeah, $1,000, oh, they're fine," and then another will say, "Oh my God, $50," and "Oh yeah, you have to get it." You know, so I run into a problem. So I just kind of made it a baseline for me to get it from everybody, just because. Unless you're able to get me paid receipts from the vendors, if they show paid on there, I can try to go that route first before we drag our clients through all of the indemnities and everything. So if I have paid receipts, that I might be able to push through with just those. So try that first. If you got paid receipts, send them over and I'll see if I can just get them, you know, approved with just those. Then I'll just make all of our lives easier, you know. But remember, it's that 120-day window. So if the work was done, you know, 3 or 5 months ago, it's not a concern for us. The biggest thing though is coaching your clients to make sure they know to say no when they're on my owner's affidavit. They're saying under penalty of perjury that there's no work that's been done in the last 120 days, that they put none on when they're asked that question. When they put something on there, now I have to address it. So that's when you guys have to talk to your clients. Say, hey, Lisa asked you this. This was 5 months ago. Say none. So she won't have to, you know, because they go, oh yeah, we had work done. And they go, oh yeah, it could have been 3 months ago. And then they say yes. And I'm like, no, it was like 6 months ago, you know, so, you know, so it becomes a problem. So that's where we just need to communicate with each other, with our clients. I'm happy to jump in so you can take something off of your plate so you don't have to try to explain indemnities. That's my job. So go ahead and send me their information. I'm happy to take over from there. But if you have some of that other information, invoices, anything you've collected, send them over so that we're looking like a team that works together. And the client's like, I already sent this to Amanda, I already sent this to, you know what I mean? So they know that we're working together with the information they've already provided.
Great. Yeah, we need to be better about. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The escrow list, Amanda, do you think we could add that onto the escrow term sheet as part of the, you know, getting that information? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I clarify? So this is just handymen, painters, landscape, because I was sending you like cleaners and stuff. That's probably not.
Cleaning is not, unless I'm paying them, unless I'm paying a vendor through escrow, that's when you have to send those things, obviously, because I'm paying them.
Okay.
If they've been
paid, staging and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anything I'm paying through escrow, I need an invoice, obviously, for that. But if it's a maintenance type of thing, I just had one with AC that needed to be done. Cleaning out, if it's any kind of cleaning, I really don't need. But it's only when major work is being done. Like the new carpets are being put in, a full paint job is being done, remodeling, obviously. You know, those are the type of things that we're looking at. Now, if they put in a new stove, it's a stove. You know, not too worried. The stove was paid. They took it out of Lowe's. They put it in there. I don't care about that. I'm okay with that. That's not really a kitchen remodel. That's a new stove. You know, so that's the difference I'm seeing from a liability perspective.
Okay, and that's on that term sheet, Anna-Liza. Like,
yeah, here I'm gonna share my screen again just so that you guys can see this. We have not clarified with HOAs yet, so we could talk about that.
Okay, so HOAs are another area that we always have fun with, right?
Yes.
So with HOAs, the most important thing is a couple of things. One, is that when you're ordering those documents, if you decide to take on that challenge, then make sure that they will allow you to order an HOA demand. We cannot close without an HOA demand. It's just like when we order payoffs for our transaction, we, as a title person, I have to make sure that all accounts are current. So one of those accounts is an HOA. That's why we need an HOA demand to make sure that we're current. So if they don't allow you to order it because you're an agent, sometimes they won't allow you to order my demand. So that's why we always offer to order your demand, your HOA documents for you. That's why we offer that, because we know that they don't allow you to order the HOA demand.
Right.
And if you order it after the fact, then it's another cost, as you found out, right? They
Right.
want to charge you another $175 when you've already paid $800 for, you thought, a full set of documents. Now
Yeah.
the client's paying out more money, right? So we want to avoid all of those little issues. Another thing is, because my team is familiar with the different HOA companies, they know if we're not supposed to order an HOA demand too early. Some of them, they only allow you to order within 30 days. If you don't order within 30 days of that, then they want to charge you all over again for another one. They, believe me, they try to find ways to make you pay. You know, they're not regulated.
Yeah.
HOAs are the worst. Then you have ones that have 2 HOAs or 3 HOAs, and that's even more fun. And you only ordered for 1. So you're going, well, wait a minute. Redwood Shores is famous for that. They have 1 or 2 for the same property. Why?
So in that case, is it best just to, like, when we open escrow with you guys, just to say like, hey, by the way, like there's an HOA right up front, and
That's
can you
exactly
help
the time.
us? Okay.
Yep. We always order those ahead of time unless our people say, you know what, we don't want to order these too early because of X, Y, and Z. But if we always want to get the ball rolling with things we know take time. It's the HOAs and the indemnities. So the 2 things that take the most time. And of course, payoffs if they're like a private lender or something like that. But that's for us to look at. But if you happen to see one on your payoff or your prelim, to say, hey, Lisa, I noticed a private lender on here. Should we start working on this now? I try to review our prelims as much as possible. The truth, with the Jean Marie gone, I haven't been able to review your prelims as much as I used to be able to. So if you guys see something, please do not hesitate to say, hey, Lisa, what is this? Can you help me with this? And we can work together on that. That would really, I'll be honest, that right now, that would be a big help to me because I'm just really shorthanded right now. We're working on it. We just hired somebody today. So thank God.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
So I was telling you about that too with the prelims. So I'm going to circle back and have a quick kind of overview of like what to look for on the prelim report.
Right.
You know, because there's those 2 sections, exceptions and the notes, and then exactly what's written true and true in fact on the
prelim. But please don't hesitate if you have any questions. If it feels kind of silly, you're like, well, it seems kind of obvious. But if you're just not sure, something inside of you says, you know what, it just feels off. Just call me and ask.
Okay.
Please, do not hesitate.
Yeah, I think a quick class with our team would be, just to go over that would be great.
That would be, and then also the big thing is, also really before I go, traveling. If your clients are traveling, they're out of the country. That's a big one we've had an issue with. We need to know that early, because if they have to go to the embassy, we want to make sure they get something on the calendar. We can do a pre-sale draw, whatever we have to do to work on a timeline for our sellers. Secondly is somebody dies. That's a big one for me. Go to a sign-off. I've actually gone to a sign-off where somebody like, where's Harry? And Harry's dead. And nobody bothered telling me that Harry wasn't going to show up that day. So that's not the time to find out your client has passed away. So that's where I need to, or somebody got married recently. If you know, these are the things that the prelim doesn't tell me. They don't tell me somebody died. They don't tell me something happened in their life recently that was pretty big. Even if you know your client has gone through something major in their life, like a divorce, or they're depressed, or whatever the situation may be, you know your client's temperament more than me at that point. So I'm an extension of your team. So you let me know, hey, our client's going through this, and this, or they'd like to, whatever, they're a complainer, but they're fine, whatever, so I'll know kind of what I'm working with. So again, I'm an extension of your team and you're an extension of mine, so that we can be consistent with our clients and handle them the way they need to be handled,
Right.
I think the trust, and that's another thing that comes into play too. If in fact, and what I do whenever I open escrow with for you guys is I always check to see if there's a trust. So if in fact they're in a trust, we need to make sure we get a copy of that right away, just so that,
If somebody passed away.
especially if somebody passed away.
We only need a copy of the trust if somebody passed away. If all of our trustees are alive, we do not need a copy of the trust.
Okay.
Unless we have some kind of weird situation going on, but more often than not, we do not need it. And if
Okay.
somebody dies, we need an original death certificate. So if there's some reason they didn't get the 15 copies that they should have gotten when somebody died, which I didn't understand when my dad died. I'm like, why do I need 15 copies of his death certificate? And come to find out you need all of them to go to the bank and go here and go there, you know, very important to have that. So we want to ask our clients about that early, especially right now, because you can't get to the county as quickly to get things. They need to order it now while you're in your listing. So by the time we go to close, we have that original document from the county. So those are the type of things that we have to look for ahead of time so we can be prepped and ready to close on time. So, and I'm here to help you all along the way. If you go, you know, Lisa, I'm completely lost. I'm looking at this, not knowing what the hell to do. Call me. I'd rather have that conversation than just radio silence. And then now we're stuck, you know? Okay.
Yep.
All right. I'm whipping out of here. You're talking to everybody. Take care.
Well, that's good. I think what we could do with the, let's go back to the, to that escrow term sheet. Let me share that with you one more time. Because on there, it's not, obviously it's not going to have the death certificates for trusts. And, you know, we might need to add that in there because that, you know, again, you're not going to remember that when you're going through this list. Travel, whether or not, you know, we have clients that, you know, are always overseas or going overseas for an extended period of time while they're in escrow, having that information, like she said, so that we could, and it happens so often where we should have set up an appointment with the embassy from the beginning, from the pre-S, you know, when they listed the property, because we don't know how quickly the escrow is going to close or if they're going to come back. So travel, I think, is a great thing to put on there for scheduling, notary, and then trusts for death, you know, and death certificates, because those are things that we forget to ask. But first and foremost, every time I open escrow for the team, I'm always looking at the property profile. I'm always looking at the grant deeds just to make sure we have all the correct owners on the escrow. That way escrow can always communicate with you, okay, do we have this information? So those should be the I guess things that you should highlight in your head when we open escrow is, was there a death? You know, are they going out of town? Then of course HOA and the indemnities, right, for work that's been done. So those 4 things should be 4 top, you know, thoughts or things to check off. And I don't see it on the escrow list, but I definitely think we should include that on there. So I'm going to see if I can just edit this and add it on there. That way you can kind of check mark, okay, no, we don't need any of those miscellaneous items, right?
Yeah. And then I just kind of want to be clear because on the death thing, like you only need to know about a death if their name is on the title.
Correct. Or if it's in the trust, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Because,
And
you know,
that's even if they died like 5 years ago, right? Like,
right. Because what happens is the property's in trust, and then you have the trustees or beneficiaries that are, you know, selling the property. We need their signature, but if we don't have that information from the beginning, again, it's just going to delay the close of escrow of getting things done. That's why just all this transparent information needs to be communicated at all times, because you guys are the ones that know the story of why they're selling their property, or the buyers, you know, purchasing, right? We want to know the story. So it's almost as if when you're sending the request to open escrow, just give us that quick story with, okay, this is so-and-so, they're selling their property. Let's open escrows to get the preliminary report. You guys review it. Looks like, you know, maybe, you know, there's another owner on there that we didn't even know of, you know, that way we're constantly in communication. Unfortunately, there's multiple, you know, things that we need to do, but at least we have a way to organize it together so that it continues to flow, right? Things will always come up, and we know that, you know, real estate's so just all over the place, you know, and things happen, but it's okay. That's why we're going to help each other do this. And I think something like this and always being able to have these conversations is going to be the most important part, you know, because we're not here to like say, no, slap on the hand, don't do that again. No, not at all. It's what can we do better so that this doesn't happen again and we could move forward. It's just those, you know, it's just part of it, right? We're learning together too. And Amanda, with you, you're also kind of, you're getting back into this and trying, you know, getting familiar with it again. And then Joy, you know, understanding the terms. And what I'll do is make sure that you have a glossary of terms so that you understand. So Joy, what I'm going to send you is the buyer and seller guides, just so that you could go through them and understand all the terms and the lingo and just what everything means when it comes to the title and escrow and opening escrow with the title company. Okay, because I think that part of it's going to be really important for you, because you're distant and we want to make sure you're part of the family, because you are part of our family. You're part of Porchlight, you're part of Chicago Title. And that's important to us, because without you, you're not going to succeed. And then Linnea, same thing. We want to make sure that, yeah. What's that?
Can I get that too? The term?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. I'll send both of you those. Those things are, and again, they're easy reads, but it's so important because when it comes to real estate, it's such a big dynamic just event at all times with multiple properties, you know, and it's exciting. You're the real estate agents, they're working their butt off calling, right, Danny? They're all calling, cold calling, making sure that they're getting, you know, those numbers in, because at the end of the day, without a strong admin team, it will fall apart. And that's why all four or five, all of you are going to do well, is because we're doing this together. We get together, and whenever anything happens, it's fine. We're going to take care of it, and we're going to do it together, because our success is your success. Same, right? So Joy, any of those questions that come across that you don't feel that you could ask Amanda, just call, text, we'll help you. Same thing, Linnea, you do that too, right? Amanda, I know you're kind of getting back on the saddle with this too. Just call. You see us, we're always replying back. We're always letting you know that we're here for you. It doesn't matter, because we're doing this together. Okay, good.
So, and I just kind of want to recap a little bit of like what I'm understanding here. Like when we open escrow with you guys, it sounds like we need to be a little bit more thorough in our email request, noting the story, like you mentioned, who the clients are, maybe what they're going through. Also, if it's an HOA that we know about. So being more thorough in that initial email, I think, is something that I'm walking away with right now. But also, and I don't know how consistent we've been about the introduction email to the clients. So it sounds like we need to be very thorough about that as well.
And that's okay.
Right away.
Yeah, and I think what would be a really great idea, and I do this just in my process as well, is you notice every time that we have a new escrow, I always have the kind of the same spiel, but just, you know, different parts of it. Maybe doing that and creating templates so everything's consistent, right? Same thing with, you know, contacting your clients with the same exact spiel, you know, making it a little bit more personal to whatever experience that they're having, but the consistency, right? And maybe what I can do is send you an email kind of template of what we need from you, right? The property address, the owners, the sellers, if it's the sellers or buyers, a quick story, whether or not, what's happening with this particular property. If there's, a trust, if there's, work being done, whatever those, 4 elements that we really need to know up front. That way, every single time we get an order, it's that same good, just rounded, bit. That way, we always have a story to tell to escrow every single time. You're right.
That would be great, having a template like that for sure. And that way we can just plug and play.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So I'm going to send everybody the guides just so that you guys can get right back on with exactly what we're asking when we ask and what they are. I'm sending you the term sheet so that you guys can fill that out. give me some time on just editing the checklist. That
Okay.
way that, boom, you guys can start using that right away for each of your files. I would suggest including it in every single, file that you have so that, you know that that's being done and being marked off. I think that's it. I hope that this has kind of helped all of you. I know it's a crazy, amazing, just exciting time for Porchlight. So again, we're here for you. We're just phone call away.
Thanks. We really
All right.
appreciate your support and your help and for taking
Awesome.
your time today.
Of course, no problem. I'm always here, anytime. So I'll send everything out to you guys. Look for that, and then just let me know what you need. Okay.
Okay, sounds
All
good.
right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank